New messages revealed.
Nobody was texting war plans.
A chat leak discussing strikes in Yemen. Speaking out.
They're going to go after literally hundreds of people like him.
A protest during the hearing of a detained student activist in D.C. Full spring at the nation's capital.
It's just a magical experience.
Our DC Bureau is live with this year's Cherry Blossom Festival. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Paula Sirignano.
I'm Jacqueline Pecker. Today is Friday, March 28th, 2025.
Live from the Lee Caplin School of Journalism and Media in North Miami, this is Caplin News.
A group chat leak, text messages about plans for a military strike exposed. Federal Judge James Boasberg ordered the Trump administration to preserve all records of a group chat on the messaging app Signal, stopping administration officials from deleting any communications. The order comes after The Atlantic magazine published a bombshell report exposing a chat among top defense officials discussing a U.S. military strike, one that mistakenly included the magazine's editor-in-chief, Jeffrey Goldberg.
Our D.C. correspondent Carla Mendez brings us more from The Atlantic's headquarters.
The text messages show high-ranking Trump administration officials, including the defense secretary and the national security advisor, discussing military strikes on Houthi targets in Yemen, which took place just hours after the messages were sent over an app that has raised concerns over its security. U.S. officials claimed there was nothing sensitive or top secret in the chat, but the messages released by the magazine show specific weaponry and the times of the military operation, which coincide with what actually happened.
Nobody was texting war plans.
The chat was published by the magazine over 2 days this week, and federal court yesterday afternoon, Judge Boasberg was responding to a lawsuit filed by the watchdog group American Oversight, which was pushing to make sure that these messages are preserved under the Federal Records Act. That law requires that the government maintain records for public access and accountability. After the hearing, Boasberg said that the government shall promptly make best efforts to preserve all Signal communications from March 11th to March 15th, 2025, which corresponds to the period during which communications about the strike in Yemen took place. He gave the Trump administration until Monday to specify the exact steps they've taken to preserve those messages. Reporting from Washington, D.C. for Caplin News, I'm Carla Mendez.
Protesters rallied outside of a federal courthouse in Washington as the Trump administration faces mounting lawsuits from students arrested after pro-Palestinian demonstrations. Our DC Bureau reporter Rafael Hernandez has more on the story.
Here outside the Elijah Barrett Prettyman Courthouse, demonstrators gathered to advocate for the freedom of Columbia University graduate student Mahmoud Khalil, pushing back against what they see as an attack on free speech.
Anybody who's got a soul's got to embrace the fact that, that people are standing up and saying, no, that is not okay.
Organized by the activist group Refuse Fascism, they gathered on the day that the Trump administration made its case to deport Khalil. Immigration officers arrested the Columbia graduate and prominent Palestinian activist earlier this month for what they say is his role in fomenting violence on the Columbia University campus last year. Khalil and his lawyers say all he was doing was protesting Israel's attacks in Gaza. Ann Wright, a retired U.S. colonel who resigned in opposition to the U.S. war in Iraq, says she fears Khalil's arrest will have a chilling effect on student activism.
This dragnet that the Trump administration has started with Khalil, it can very easily morph into a much larger attack on free speech and on individuals of many ethnic groups.
Refuse Fascism member Carla L. echoes these concerns.
We also have to defend him because clearly they're going to go after literally hundreds of people like him.
Columbia student Yunseo Chung and Cornell student Mamoudou Tall have joined Mahmoud Khalil in suing the Trump administration over their arrests tied to pro-Palestinian protests. Reporting from Washington, D.C. for Caplin News, I'm Rafael Hernandez.
If you're thinking of buying a car soon, you might want to act fast. A new 25% tariff on imported vehicles starts April 3rd, and auto parts will follow in May, driving up costs. Caplin News reporter Daniela Morales has more.
If tariffs hold, you are going to see increases on automotive prices.
Most economists say Americans are in for sticker shock if the president follows through on newly announced auto tariffs. A proclamation he signed yesterday says they include 25% duties on imported assembled vehicles starting April 3rd. It says tariffs on parts will begin no later than May 3rd.
Americans will keep their cars longer. They'll have to. They won't be able to afford them. They'll also have a lot less choice.
Analysts say the plan could make it cost prohibitive to sell certain cheap imports in the U.S. They also predict price hikes on American-made cars due to the tariffs on parts. But the White House says parts that comply with the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement will get a temporary exemption. Anderson Economic Groups predicts eventually the cost to produce a vehicle in the U.S. potentially could rise by up to $12,000.
So it may fall in the first instance on the American manufacturer who buys the input, who may then pass it on to the consumer, or it is passed directly through the retail chain to the American consumer.
Economists say the advantage of tariffs is that they can help domestic manufacturers.
You're going to see prices going down, businesses coming back to the United States so that they don't have to pay tariffs.
The United Auto Workers Union president applauds Trump's plan. Reporting for Caplin News, I'm Daniela Morales.
This morning, a man in West Palm Beach faces charges after driving his car into a crowd of protesters near a Tesla dealership. Caplin News reporter Jose Ruano has more on the story.
Yeah, I had to step back, otherwise I would have got hit.
Mara Bemun, one of the 70 or so protesters outside of the West Palm Beach Tesla dealership when Andrew Doodle dropped his soup onto his sidewalk, screaming people out of his way before he get out of the car shooting.
He stops, gets out, waves his hands and says, I lost my electronics, I can't steer, no brakes, don't touch the car, it might explode.
Doodle did not hit anyone, but the car Mark's daughter told police that she wasn't fair for her life.
She said, he looked like he was coming right at me.
Doodle went into the Tesla dealership while people called 911. When the spots arrived, he took off again, but they quickly pulled him over and took him into custody.
Had he had the intent to really injure somebody, he could have easily done that. And I think that it was pretty much a stunt.
Witness told the Sped Doty had a driving for early shooting at the protester before swinging his soup onto the curb and driving forward about 20 feet before stopping. Bowman said his group, the Palm Beach Indivisibles, was protesting Elnos Musk's involvement into the federal government, and they didn't expect to have a car aiming at them.
We're all Americans, and we're just exercising our First Amendment rights to say we're not happy with what's going on.
For Caplin News, I'm Jose Ruano.
A new update in Tejano singer Selena Quintanilla's murder case this morning. Yolanda Saldivar, the woman convicted of killing the musician 30 years ago, was denied parole on Thursday. The now 64-year-old woman who founded the singer's fan club was sentenced to life in prison after fatally shooting Quintanilla following a confrontation in a Texas motel. The Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles will review her parole in 5 years.
She was America's Golden Girl, and now Betty White is being honored in a special way that fans can cherish forever. Yesterday, the U.S. Postal Service unveiled the Betty White Forever stamp at the Los Angeles Zoo. The stamp shows her signature smile and iconic blonde curls, along with a polka dot top and a paw print earring, a nod to her love for animals. The stamps are available now on the USPS website and at post offices nationwide.
With a life-altering decision to make, a high school student becomes one of the most successful scholarship earners in Georgia's history. Chase Matthews was accepted into 155 colleges in all 50 states. Overall, she has $6 million in scholarship offers.
All for my grandparents and my parents, as I've seen their struggles with medicine, affordability, as well as accessibility. So I want to fix that problem in the Black and low-income communities in Atlanta.
Matthews wishes to become a pharmacist and open a chain of mobile pharmacies. She's considering attending Florida A&M University. Maybe will be the lucky state that gets her choice. Baseball is back and an exciting opening day for the Miami Marlins.
That's still ahead, and so is this story.
I've been to 20 festivals in DC since I've been here.
Peak bloom season takes over the Cherry Blossom Festival in Washington, D.C. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
See us dream. See us remember. See us protest.
You matter. Your feelings matter. Your identity matters. Everything about who you are matters.
See us fight back. See us rebuild. See See us shatter stereotypes. See us inspire. See us united. See us now.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
A new look at the nation's capital welcomes the start of spring. Washington, D.C. is in full bloom as the Cherry Blossom Festival reaches its peak.
Caplin News reporter Natalie Dominguez is live at the tidal basin with a look at how visitors are celebrating this iconic springtime event. Good morning, Natalie.
Good morning. Today is the day. We have reached peak bloom weekend out here, and as you can see around me, the cherry blossoms are beautiful as ever. Down here at the tidal basin, at least 70% of these blossoms are in full bloom and will continue throughout the rest of the weekend. This week I had the opportunity to witness firsthand and speak with some people about what makes this iconic event so magical. Let's go ahead and take a look.
I've been to 20 festivals in DC since I've been here.
For longtime festival goers like Kiki Rogers, a Florida native and DC resident, Peak Bloom is an eagerly anticipated celebration. It's when the trees are at their most vibrant, turning the tidal basin into a breathtaking sea of pink and white.
All my neighbors finally come out from the cold winter, and they come out in spring, and everyone decorates, and it's just magical because everyone's faces comes out and everyone takes off their hats, their jackets. It's just a magical experience.
This time of year is about more than just the flowers. It's about the community coming together to enjoy the season and celebrate the beauty of these iconic trees, which originally were a gift from Japan 116 years ago.
We have been celebrating in some way this wonderful history of U.S.-Japan friendship and honoring the roots, the true roots of the festival.
For some, the cherry blossoms are a way to create unforgettable memories.
I got married under the cherry blossoms with my husband, and we have a beautiful memory of that wonderful day.
And for others, it's all about the fun and festivities.
Party all day long with the cherries, right?
Yes!
Yes.
And while peak bloom is happening now, the National Cherry Blossom Festival will continue through April 13th, with events leading up to the final parade. Reporting live from the tidal basin for Caplin News, I'm Natalie Dominguez.
An opening thriller on opening day as the Marlins kick off their season with a clutch win against the Pirates. Let's start with the headline of the night. The ace, Sandy Alcantara, returned from Tommy John surgery and looked like he hadn't missed a beat, striking out 7 in his first mound appearance in 572 days. But the Fish still found themselves down 2 in the bottom of the 8th. Otto Lopez and Dane Meyer sent 2 men home to tie up the game. Nick Fortes would kick off to the 9 with a bump to the triple to center field, setting the stage for Kyle Towers to kick off his first full year with the Marlins with a bang. First walk-off win in Marlins opening day history. The Marlins win 5-4. The Fish take on the Pirates tonight at 7:10 p.m.
After a big win in Jimmy Butler's homecoming this week, the Heat look to slowly be getting back on track this morning after beating the Hawks last night. The Heat went down big in the first, but Tyler Hero would spark a 12-0 run to take back the lead and cap off the half with an explosive dunk. He would finish with a very efficient 36 points. And that was the story for the rest of the team, who, despite sitting towards the bottom of the league in three-point shooting, shot a scorching 55% last night. The Hawks would look to make a late-game push, but the Heat wouldn't give up the lead. The final score was Heat 122, Hawks 112. The Heat will look to continue keeping their play-in dreams alive when they face the Philadelphia 76ers this Saturday.
That's all the time we have for our news break. I'm Paula Sirignano.
I'm Jacqueline Pecker. Get more news anytime at caplinnews.fiu.edu.